This video will be the first installment for a series where I will be trying to explain my whole take on the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. So before we begin, there are some characters that I must introduce you to first. The first lot of characters I will be introducing you to is the Afton family. The Afton family consists of William Afton, co-creator of Fazbear Entertainment, Mrs. Afton, Michael Afton, the oldest of William's 3 children, Elizabeth Afton, and Evan Afton, William's youngest. The next lot of characters I will be introducing you to is the Emily family, which consists of Henry Emily, co-creator of Fazbear Entertainment, and his daughter Charlotte. Now that we have gotten this out of the way, let us begin. The year is 1983 in the town of New Harmony, Utah. The men Henry Emily and William Afton together create the family restaurant Fredbear's Family Diner. This contains the animatronics Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. However, these animatronics were no normal animatronics. These were spring lock suits, which could be switched between animatronic mode and suit mode. This allowed the pair to get work done in the diner without having to constantly perform for children. The restaurant turned out to be a great success, making the two very rich men. Because of this success, William Afton opened Circus Baby's Pizza World. William Afton, however, was not a good man. He was always abusive and neglectful to his wife and children, and his newfound fame and money only heightened this toxic personality of his. And this restaurant contained a dark purpose.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
The animatronics in this restaurant were made to lure, capture, and kill kids, whilst making sure no other children or adults were kept in the room. William, knowing this, doesn't allow any of his own children anywhere near these animatronics. However, William's daughter Elizabeth loves Circus Baby and begs her father to allow her to go and see her.
Daddy, why won't you let me play with her? Daddy, you let the other children go see her. Why won't you let me go? Daddy, just once let me go play with her. She's so pretty and shiny. Didn't you make her just for me? Daddy, she can make balloons. Have you seen her make balloons? Oh, Daddy, let me go to her.
Even though William keeps telling her not to, she still decides to go over and see Circus Baby when her father isn't looking. Kids continue running in and out of the room until it is just Elizabeth and Circus Baby in the room.
Don't tell Daddy that I'm here. I wanted to watch your show too. I don't know why he won't let me come see you. You're wonderful. Where did the other children go?
Circus Baby herself best retells the events.
I would always count the children. I'm not sure why. I was always acutely aware of how many there were in the room with me. 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 2, then none. They usually played together in groups of 2 or 3. I was covered in glitter. I smelled like birthday cake. There were 2, then 3, then 5, then 4. I can do something special. Did you know that? I can make ice cream, although I only did it once. There were 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Something happened when there was 1. A little girl standing by herself. I was no longer myself, and I stopped singing. My stomach opened, and there was ice cream. I couldn't move, at least, not until she stepped closer. There was screaming for a moment, but only for a moment. Then other children rushed in again, but they couldn't hear her over the sounds of their own excitement. I still hear her sometimes. Why did that happen?
William instantly closes Circus Baby's Pizza World merely weeks after it opened, and as a cover he says that it is due to gas leaks. Some time passes by, and William, not willing to let another one of his children die to his own creations, tells both of his remaining children, Evan and Michael, not to go anywhere near the Fredbear's Family Diner location. However, Evan, William's youngest, still sneaks out to go to Fredbear's Family Diner, due to his love for the characters. However, unbeknownst to Evan, William knew this. I mean, of course he knew this. He was the co-owner of the restaurant. So, he came up with a plan. He set up illusion discs on Evan's Fredbear and Friends plushies. These illusion discs created a high-pitched frequency just outside of the normal human hearing range in order to overload the human brain in order to change the listener's perception of whatever the emitter wanted them to see. William used this to make Evan see nightmarish versions of the animatronics he once loved, roaming throughout his house and trying to get into his bedroom. These illusions would begin at 12 AM and would continue on until 6 AM in the morning, a time which Evan would begin to cherish. As the week progressed, Evan would begin to become more and more terrified of the Fredbear Family Diner location and the animatronics within it. Michael, who always felt neglected by his father, always found himself to be jealous of Evan. Because of this, Michael would always bully his brother, because he always felt like William treated Evan with more love than he treated him with. Evan's older brother Michael, unknowingly, was actually helping William with this plan, by scaring Evan with his foxy mask. William, aware of this, allowed it to happen during the daytime, as it would make Evan even more terrified of the location. William would encourage Michael to keep on doing this, and would be monitoring them through the eyes of a plush Fredbear. Michael, unlike William, wasn't doing this because of some sinister plot, however. It was because he was just a bad brother. By the end of the week, Michael was the one planning Evan's birthday, and had told everybody in town about it. After Evan hears about this, he makes his way back to the house in order to speak to William about it. However, Michael made him there first, and jump-scared him with a foxy mask. The next day, Michael, just being the bad older brother, managed to get Evan inside of Fredbear's Family Diner, and locked him in the back room for a couple of minutes before letting him out in order to run back home and cry. That night, Michael began to plan what he'd do next day for Evan's party. He knew that Evan was the most terrified of the place than he ever was, and he knew that he himself alone wouldn't be able to get him inside, so he planned how he would get Evan inside as the night fell. The next day, Michael brought 3 of his friends with him who would be able to get Evan inside of the establishment. Michael knew that if he himself wasn't able to get Evan inside of the building, he knew that 3 other bullies, just like him, would. Michael, along with the 3 other bullies, forced Evan inside of the diner and got him right up in front of Fredbear, when an idea sparked in his head. Evan continued to plead the 4 bullies, saying that he didn't want to be there and that he wanted to leave. Michael then told the 3 other bullies that perhaps Evan wanted to give the golden bear a big kiss. The 4 bullies then placed Evan's head and torso inside of the bear's jaw as he continued on to cry. Michael watched as he continued to laugh. His plan was a success. He knew Evan was as scared of the animatronics than he could ever be. However, unknown to Michael, spring lock failures could occur. This was when the spring locks that kept the animatronics parts inside the suit wound back came in contact with moisture or water, so employees had to be careful not to breathe on them. And only William and Henry knew about this. The tears from Evans rained down on the spring locks, which kept the animatronics parts in place, causing the spring locks in the suit to fail, which made the jaw snap back into its usual closed position, practically biting down on Evan's head fatally. Michael watched as blood dripped from Fredbear's mouth, as guilt began to reign over him. William, hearing about this, rushed to the location, which was now filled with chaos, and Evan was rushed into an ambulance to go to the emergency room. This event would be known as the Bite of 83. In his coma, Evan now had the same recurring nightmare. He would awake one night at 12 a.m. after hearing movement in the hallway outside his room. He would shine his flashlight down the hallway, only to see a black, translucent version of Fredbear menacingly staring back at him in the darkness. Back in the real world, William hears the news that Evan would die shortly. William then places the Fredbear plushie in one of Evan's arms and then holds him by the other. Michael says his goodbyes first. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm sorry. Michael slowly walks out of the room, and then William says his goodbyes. You're broken. We are still your friends. Do you still believe that? I'm still here. I will put you back together. William then walks out of the room, hearing the sound of Evan's heartbeat flatline. In the following days, Fredbear's family diner would close its doors for good. Henry starts to wonder what would be the future of the company, and begins to question his future involvement with William due to certain events. William, who has now lost 2 of his children to his own creations, causes his wife to now become cold and distant. He starts to blame and hate Michael for what has happened to Evan, and with all of this, William starts to begin his descent into madness.